Hello and welcome to Eye on the Money, the television show that gives you insights into how to improve your financial well-being as well as make your money work for you. I'm Ingrid Nantege. Now today, we'll be talking about monetizing your talent. Most people tend to dismiss what they're good at. Part of it is that you become so accustomed to having whatever skill you have that you cease to notice it. Sometimes it's out of a sense of false humility. But every single person has innate talents and gifts that enrich people's lives and provide a source of income for you. How can you discover what your true talents are? Well, with me in studio to help us best understand how to make your money work for you and out of your talents is Christine Mweteli, CEO of Soft Skills Limited. Kristen, you know I've hunted you down.
I'm finally here.
That laugh is, oh my God, I'm so guilty. But I'm so glad you finally made it.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for coming. And we're talking about a topic that I'm so sure so many people are interested in. Because usually when they tell you you need to make money, you think of, oh my God, now I need to go apply to this bank. I need to go. People don't even really realize that just the gifts they have, the talents, are a source of income. Once again, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
To dive right in. Is it really possible to take advantage of my talent? Help us understand how this can happen and how your talents can actually make you money.
Okay, I am a firm believer that God sent us here with a gift. Everybody has something that I like to call it your unfair advantage. So that if you're with a runner, you try to run a race against a runner, he has an unfair advantage over you, all right? If you try to make a joke against someone who is a stand-up artist, comedian, he has an unfair advantage. He comes wired with a particular gifting, a talent that gives them an unfair advantage in that specific area. The tragedy, if you ask me, is a lot of us never discover what our unfair advantage is. Everybody has something special. There are no two people in the world who are the same. Yeah, so basically everybody has a talent. No two people have this exact combination of skills.
But even when you talk about the fact that there are those people who have an unfair advantage, everyone has a talent, how then can you, because when you think about your talent, like you've talked about comedians, some people will just walk into a room and they'll make people laugh and that will be the end of it. Someone will show up at a hotel, dive into that pool, they're swimming for fun, but you can see they're clearly pacing everyone else. Someone will have a beautiful voice, but they'll just sing in the shower. How then do you turn that talent, that gift, into a money-making venture?
All right. I think the beginning is this. Identify your talent as a gift. You do not know what your talent is because familiarity breeds contempt. I am just so good at doing this that I don't think it's anything. And as human beings, we tend to over-glorify what another person can do. I'm so fascinated with you being on TV that I forget to notice that I'm this great swimmer. Now, a few questions to ask yourself would be, what would I do for free? That will a pointer to what your talent is. A lot of drivers wouldn't drive if they aren't being paid to drive. But what do they do for free, all right? What do you tend to do during your free time, you know? When you're free, when you're not pressed by any deadline or anything, what do you spend your time doing? That's a pointer to what your gifting might be. What have people complimented you for doing? Do people admire the way you do hair? Do people like the way you decorate your house? That could be a pointer to where your gifting is. So the first step is to identify what your talent is. Because you could be like this great swimmer you're talking about who outpaces everybody. But the fact that they haven't identified that as their gift. So the first step, in my opinion, is to identify your gift. Once you know what your gift is, spend time on the gift. Because a lot of people will be born with a particular ability. I could be from your family, and because you're a swimmer, I might have the raw talent of being able to swim, but I have to spend time in the pool. I have to practice. So you have to give a lot of time to that gift so that you grow it, you hone it, you sharpen it, you become the best at that thing in the whole world. Yes.
I love what you've said. Identify your gift. So I've identified my gift. I've concentrated on it. I've tried to perfect it. What about when it comes to the aspect of marketing? And by this, I mean, how am I going to convince the next person to believe in my gift enough to want to pay me for it? Because like you said, you really cannot be an isolated, you cannot be the only tack in the box. So how do you even stand out in the midst of so many other similar gifts on the marketing?
Okay, you've asked a few questions there in one. Let me start at the beginning.
Okay.
Let me start at the beginning. All right. How do you make money from your gift? You become the best at what you know. Someone said this, I'm not sure who I'm quoting, but they said the best thing that could happen to you in the world is to identify what you like doing and to find somebody who'll pay you to do it. So that if I like cycling a bike, if I can find someone who'll pay me to cycle the bike, then I'm good. All right. How am I going to become better than everybody else? Practice, practice, practice. You will become the best by how much time you have spent doing it. I'm not going to think I'm going to become this great teacher if I qualified from school yesterday. You have to practice what you're doing. We are now living in a generation that's very, very different. I grew up, for example, with parents who wanted us to follow traditional, they wanted you to be an engineer, a teacher, or a doctor, something like that. This generation is much more open-minded towards different talents being your job. There's people right now who do very out-of-the-box sort of careers. So the world we are in right now is much more accepting. There's people who make their living off their phone, all right? So it's a much easier generation in which to operate. So to answer your question on how do I stand out from the crowd, one word: excellence. Become excellent at what you do. A lot of times, unfortunately, we want to get away with mediocrity. You are not going to get away with mediocrity. There's competition for everybody. So the only way I'm going to become the best trainer is I do the best job, so that then people are waiting to pay. As long as you become good at what you're doing, there's a market for everything.
Christine, when we talk about talent, there's a very thin line between talent and hobby. Because, I feel like at the end of the day, in a way, they both come down to like really liking what you do. So where's the line and how do you differentiate the two? Can you also make money off of your hobby, or is it a preserve for just talent?
I think the idea of a line, I would remove the line altogether. I wouldn't think of something as a hobby. When we say hobby, are we talking about something that doesn't make money? Is that what makes a hobby a hobby?
Right.
Because if you can turn your hobby into your job, then you've died and gone to heaven. Because then you're never going to work. If I'm doing what I like doing, if, for example, my gifting was in singing and all I had to do was sing, I wouldn't think that that's work. All right. So every day for me is a holiday. I'm spending my whole day doing what I want. So ideally, we are taking our hobby and finding how we can make money off our hobby. All right. I'm not being unrealistic. I realize you have to pay your bills.
Right.
But then you have to think long term. You might be doing whatever it is that you're doing right now. I'm not saying stop, but spend more and more time on your hobby so that you grow it and hone it. And I promise you somebody's going to come and pay you for it.
Now let's talk about employment in line with talent. And by that I mean, is it possible for your talent to be in line with your employment, or does it really have to be something out of the box? For example, I'm a journalist, but on the side I can really belt out those notes, so I can somehow capitalize on both of them. Or could it be maybe I'm a financier and my talent is what? Something in the line with what I'm doing. What do you have to say about career paths in line with talent?
A lot of times we find ourselves in a career where the opportunity opened up. So that I finished school and I got an opportunity to get in the bank, and 35 years later I'm still in the bank, all right? Although that's more of a past generation sort of thing. But still, even in the bank, there's going to be an opportunity for you to shine where your specific abilities and talents are going to shine through. I know a lady who worked in one of the corporates in Nairobi, and she had this gift of hosting. So that whenever visitors came to the organization, she's the one who would welcome them, who would host them. That had nothing to do with her job. Absolutely nothing. She was a marketing professional. But she had this way of just welcoming people and making them feel at home and introducing them around and showing them around the office. And she wound up being the person who now would represent the company, and she wound up in PR. And it grew out of her talent. Yeah, I know somebody who did something completely different work-wise, but people would always compliment her on her beautiful house. She combined colors very interestingly, and people would consult with her. Can I just borrow your time? Can you take me? I'm trying to buy curtains. Can you advise me on this? And she wound up in a business for interior design. So it doesn't mean that your talent is on one page and your job is on another. You might find a way. Bring your strengths wherever you are. Because there are no two people with the same set of strengths. So even if I'm working at a TV station and I like cooking, there's going to be opportunity for my cookery interest to shine through. All right. So I have a unique set of skills. That's what I want to become aware of. There is a reason why I'm good at what I'm good at. There's a reason why I like what I like. All right. So if I'm going to allow my personality to shine through, there's going to be opportunity come up, even in the strangest of circumstances. Yeah. A lot of the times I think our problem is we try to fit in a box. We try to think in the hard.
Right.
If you just get it out of the way, there is no one else like you. Don't try to be anyone. There's just no one else like you.
Right.
So I can't goof at being me because I'm the only me around. So even if I'm working here, but I have a gift in singing, there's going to be one day needed the skill of singing. All right. And I'm going to be able to use that gift. Yeah. For some people, it will be completely separate, where you have something else that you do on the side, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a good reason why you have all the skills and talents that you have, and they're going to become useful where you find yourself. Yeah, I think there's the expression that says, blossom where you're planted.
Right.
You might find yourself in the less than ideal situation, but there's going to be need for your gifting and your talent in that exact spot.
Christine, in line with what you've just said, that indeed your talent can somehow be brought into your employment. Somehow there's a way in which you can thrive with both. However, my question is, what if my talent, in the event that my talent is completely different from my employment, what would be your advice on completely, fully, solely pursuing the path of my talent and forgetting about this, because that's what I want to do, because that's what makes me happy, because that's where I blossom? So what would be your advice on fully following your talent as a source of income? And would you advise that someone can fully thrive and live off of their talents?
Okay. This is a show about money. So I'm assuming you have some skills that have led you to some investment that could tide you a while. All right. We talked about first identify the talent and then spend time doing whatever it is that's the talent. You could gradually spend more time on your passion than on your job. All right. So that you're giving all your free time, and you want to be fair to your employer. I read a book that said your employer is the investor.
Right.
This job is the investor to this passion. All right. So on the side, I love to cook and everything, so I want to start this restaurant, but I work at this bank. It's a good idea for me to give my best to the bank, because this bank job is the investor in my restaurant. All right. But while I'm doing that, I'm spending more and more time investing my income nicely so that I'll be able to fund my passion. All right. So it could be a gradual move. It could, at the end of the day, you could end up running two different enterprises. But for the most part, I would advise move it gradually. Move it gradually. Don't quit cold turkey. I did that once before, and that's a bad idea. Don't, put pen to paper and resign. Hey guys, it's been real. I'm out.
I'm talented and I'm a great swimmer.
And I'm out of here. You might starve. All right? There's the reality of bills. You have to pay your bill at the end of the month. So I would advise move gradually, but spend more time perfecting. And while you're at this job, perfect what you're good at, so that the day you move into it, if you want to move into it full time, you will have grown it. You will have grown it. There's no shortage of opportunity. There's absolutely no shortage of opportunity. Yeah.
I love that. We're going to take a very quick break, but don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we have so much more for you right here on Eye on the Money. And with me in studio talking about how to monetize your talent is CEO Soft Skills, Christine Mweteli. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.